Well, hi there, this is DBT, and alright, it's time for another En Tuk micro showcase, or perhaps I should call her a macro showcase, because we're gonna be looking finally at a weapon. Now, in the last video I told you that that was gonna be the case, so I'm glad I was able to make it happen. But yeah, I know that this has taken quite a while since the last showcase for a weapon. These things take quite a lot of time, you know, because there's a lot of sprites and a lot of things in the code that needs to be taken care of and making sure that things work the way I want them to. But yeah, let's dive right into it. But before actually we do, we're again looking at this beautiful, beautiful map created by the Swampy Lad. And of course there's an airplane because it can't be a DBT video without airplanes. The map that Swampy Lad made, this is just a different section of that same map that I showed. This map is not available for download at the moment, but I've been told that it will be available once En Tuk releases. So yeah, that's a thing that you will be able to play. Now, as far as the weapon itself, of course, is the Chaingun. You have seen it. I have used it quite a bit in previous videos. You have seen the primary fires, no problems. Although, some of the effects weren't there. For example, the puff, we're still looking like the regular puff of regular bullet weapons, while now it's blue as it should be. Much like the Tracer, which also got some slight changes to it so that it looks a bit closer to what it does in Doom Eternal. So this primary fire, you know, it's not exactly new, you have seen it quite a bit, but you're gonna love those animations. And also another change, of course, is that now it drops casings, because of course we need casing. It's just one of those things that we all love to see. Alright, so that's the primary fire. Now, of course, we're also gonna be looking at the mods, the modules for the weapon. So let's do some developer magic and let's just jump right into it. There you go, I can speak sometimes. Alright, installing the module, and I still call them modules. I believe Doom Eternal just calls them mods nowadays, but to me there will always be modules like in Doom 2016 because that's very explicit and I don't get confused when I'm talking about my mods and the mods of the mod, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, first thing, you may notice that there's no no module switching animation or swapping. That is normal. Those are very low priority. The main thing right now, of course, is getting the sprites for the weapons going. The primary fire, the old fires, and all of that stuff. And while we're at this topic, I want to shout out Franco as usual for doing an amazing job with this. Look at how beautiful the sprites is. The attention to detail, like all the light reflections and all when you're firing, is just nuts. So yeah, Franco, as usual, you're doing an amazing job. Now, as far as the functionality of the shield itself, brace yourself because this is weird. There's a lot to talk about and this might get a bit technical. I hope to not, you know, go too crazy with this, but we'll see. So first of all, let's look at how the shield looks. This is it. And obviously it doesn't look like in Doom Eternal where you have the actual physical shield in front of you. Now this was a deliberate decision and I'll try to explain why. I'll put a clip right now of the Inquisitor, which is a playable character in the mod Quake Champions Doom Edition that we did a couple years ago. And you can see that he does have a shield in front of you. That's basically what you would expect in this mod, right? Why did I not go this route? Well, on working with that thing, we learned a lot about what we could do with this type of shields and what we couldn't. So the very first thing is that those shields cannot block explosions. To try to explain it simply, this is a structure of the map itself. This doesn't move. It's just static, right? And before somebody comes to tell me poly objects, you know, that's beyond the point. But anyway. Then this is an actor, which is something that you place in the map. It's a code-defined little thing. I bring these two things up because structures can block explosions, actors cannot. So if I make the shield like I did for the Inquisitor, that clip that you saw, it's just a bunch of actors in front of you to protect you from incoming projectiles and all. But the reality is that an explosion will still damage you. And to try to put an example over here, let me see if I can pull this off. Let's summon an imp and let's summon a couple of Hell Knights that are gonna act as the shield. The imp is the player, these things are pieces of the shield. Obviously this is a very crude example, but you'll get the idea. So I shoot it and you can see that he took damage, that's why he's running now. Let me see if I can do it again. And there you go, he died while this guy actually killed me. So yeah, this type of actors cannot block explosions. That's going to be the first drawback of adding that type of shield. The second thing that these shields cannot do is block melee attacks. A melee attack is just basically a measurement between the monster and your own distance. If the distance is, you know, within his, what would you call it, threshold, then he will inflict direct damage to you. It's not a physical attack in the sense that there's no, hey, is there anything blocking me? No, no, no. It's just a straight up damage to you. So having the shield right in front of you is not going to prevent you from taking melee damage. It will only really block like hit scans and projectiles. But melee and explosions, yeah, no, that's not going to work. So that's two reasons. The third reason, and this one gets, again, a bit complicated, a bit complex to explain, is the functionality of how it interacts with other player attacks, both in PvP and PvE. You would want the shield to let attacks go through in PvE. You don't want your shield to block somebody else's rocket directed to a demon, right? That's doable. That's not a problem. But then this functionality doesn't quite extend the same way in a PvP environment. And while I've said that this mod does not support at the moment multiplayer, it's being developed obviously with Xandron compatibility. So that whenever we get to it, we will be able to just, you know, make the adjustments that we need to make it fully working in multiplayer. Technically, out of the box, we will be able to jump into multiplayer, but it's gonna be weird, buggy. So it's mostly about bug fixing. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to bring here is that when you have PvP, when you're playing deathmatch, or more specifically team deathmatch, or anything that it's team-based, the shield either lets all of the player attacks go through, or all of the players won't. And again, this is something that we learned with that other mod. So it makes it so that if you're in a team and you put the shield may protect you, but it will actually hinder any player that is behind you trying to shoot through the shield, because then it will actually, all of the shots will collide with your shield. And the answer is, well, let the shots go through. But then if you do that, the enemy shots will go through, making the shield completely useless. So that's an absolutely impossible situation to win. In that other mod, we made it so that it blocks every single projectile. So that thing is no good for team deathmatch. So that's another consideration over here. And then the last one is, I mean, the last reason why I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work, is for how weird it looks when you're using a warp. Sorry, I'm going technical. For making the shield basically be always in front of you. I'm gonna put another clip over here of how it looks when you have the shield and you are under any amount of ping. You can see that the shield looks like it's kind of lagging behind your movement, and while functionally it's still perfectly fine, it technically is still always in front of you. Visually, it's kind of disconcerting, so I just didn't want to have that. That's why, coming back to here, En Tuk, you use the shield and it just does this. If you look at a third person, and forgive the regular Doom guy sprites, it does look like you have a bubble in front of you. And this is because in Doom Eternal, the shield is actually like that. It's technically a bubble in the sense that it looks like it only protects you from the front, but actually if you go cheeks first into a monster, you will notice that even if you have the shield up like that, it will still damage you, even if he's attacking you from behind, because the shield protects you from every angle. So the whole thing where it's an object in front of you is just a visual thing. It doesn't really act like that. So if it already does that in Doom Eternal, you know, I didn't see a reason to put myself through all the complications and the visual weird things that all of that would imply. Well, I can just simply make it so that it's implied that you have the shield thanks to this visual indication in the heads-up display. So, alright, that's that's a long-ass explanation as to why it looks the way it looks and why I didn't go the other route, even though I could have. I decided not to. Now, as far as the functionality, finally we're getting to that. The shield in here, again, protects you from every side, but you're not invulnerable. Let me get hit by this guy, and you can see it hurts quite a bit, right? Depending on the attack is how much damage you take. Let's pull the shield, and you will notice that I'm still taking a tiny little bit of damage. Now, how much damage will this be at by the time of release? Who knows? It might be more, probably will be a little bit more, but we'll see. Again, it's all work in progress. The balance is work in progress. But the whole point of making it so that you're not 100% invulnerable is so that you are not completely, you know, death-proof. Like, for example, and again, shoutouts to the Swampy Lad for all of this. You know these things from Doom Eternal, right? Yeah, those mean things. Well, if you were completely invulnerable, you wouldn't be safe from this. But if you have the shield, you can still get completely squished by this type of traps. And obviously it's not only about this trap, it's about anything that has been made in the game so that it kills you. It can still kill you even if you have the shield. It's not meant to make you 100% invulnerable. I made it with the idea of one of the mods that we will be looking at in a second. I mean, none of the mods, of the upgrades. And speaking of that, let's have a look at that. Seriously, look how long it took me to just bring you into this. So let's do some magic over here. And let's see the first upgrade, which is going to be fast recovery. The regular shield takes about, if I remember correctly, 8 or 9 seconds to recharge. Once you have the first upgrade, you know, once the shield times out, it's going to take much less time, about 50% less, which is going to be 6 seconds. So you can see how those little indicators in the gun, they come back much quicker because indeed the recovery is much quicker. That's the first upgrade. Now let's have a look at the second one, which is gonna be the dash smash. What this means, of course, is that while you have the shield up, if you dash into an enemy, they will be faltered. So let's use it, dash, and you can see he's faltered. Let's try that again. And faltered. It deals a very Jesus, I can say that word, minuscule amount of damage. The main idea is for it to falter the enemies, and actually will work if there's more than one of them. If I hit the angle, of course. Let me wait until this is recharged. There we go. And there we go. They're both faltered. So yeah, that's basically how it works. And in fact, keeping with the idea of this, oh god, let me go into God mode. That this is a sphere. It actually works if you go, if you dash backwards, for example, or to the side. Oh shit! Hold on, I'll show you from the side now. Let me kill one of this because these guys are a bit too crazy. And to the side, and he's faltered. Again, keeping with the idea that this is a sphere. So whichever angle you do it, is so long as you actually hit them, they're gonna be faltered. And now let's look at the third upgrade, which is gonna be the shield launch. All right, so this one is another one that works different than how it does in Doom Eternal. In Doom Eternal, basically, once you have the shield, you have to absorb a certain amount of damage before you can actually launch the shield. In here, the shield launch is guaranteed, so long as you actively do it. If I just pull the shield and let it time out, it will not launch it at all, because it was, let's say, a passive situation here where you just pull the shield and let it do its thing, and that was that. However, if you actively press it again, then you will launch the shield. Now, I was mentioning that you're not completely invulnerable, and that's precisely so that there's a tiny bit of thought put when you are using this shield. Like, let's say you're being attacked by a bunch of monsters, and you pull out the shield and you're like, oh god, am I gonna survive? I think I'm gonna die. Okay, let me just immediately launch it and falter all the enemies, and that'll give me the opportunity to escape. Now, that's gonna be a very niche scenario, but it will exist every once in a while. So yeah, you will decide if you want to use the shield for as long as possible, and when it times out, it's not gonna launch, or if instead you want to pull out the shield and then actively trigger it again to make sure that you falter the enemies. And of course, this works not against a single enemy. In fact, it's more of a radius thing where you will see how all of them faltered. So it's definitely very, very useful. Now, I want to mention something else that may look like a small thing, but you know, for anybody that codes, oh, this guy's kind of got stuck over here. For anybody that codes in Xandro Nomenology, you know the pain of what I'm going to show you. Hold on, let me just get rid of this that got stuck over there. And that's going to be the fact that the shield indicators, you know, when you use the shield and it times out or whatever, you see those little three, what would you say, little heads that move in the gun itself. Well, technically 6, but you know what I mean. These are still shown even when you're shooting the weapon. So you can see that they still activate when you're firing the weapon, and all of it continues to work despite the firing animation. So trust me, that's a ton of sprites for every single variation of the gun in all of the estates. So yeah, that's dope. Code-wise, it looks horrible. If you ever look at the code, you will be like, Jesus Christ, this code is dirty. But it does the trick. So there we go. All right, so that's pretty much it as far as this this module. I told you that it was gonna take a while. It's a pain in the ass to try to explain why I went with this decision, but gameplay-wise, it works really, really well. So yeah, I hope you're gonna like once you play it. So all right, let's have a look at the second module, which of course is the turret. Again, no animation for when you are swapping the mods. Remember, this is normal. We will get to that. Turret. Now this thankfully is going to be much easier to explain. The turret, it's really fun, but it's not as complex in regards to the behavior. So yeah, look at this beautiful animation of the deploy. It's just, god damn you, Franco, you're doing some crazy shit over here. The animation is so much smoother than it is in D4G. So yeah, that looks pretty dope. All right, the turret. It's what you would expect of the turret. You use the turret, you're pretty slow, and you fire a lot. That's basically what it is. Now, as you can see, the gun actually does heat up. So if you shoot it for too long, it will heat up and it will overheat, at which point you cannot fire it again until it's completely cool again. Now, right now, there's no indication in the heads-up display when how much is heating up. Don't worry, that will be added later. Again, that's not right now the focus. The main thing is that it works, and it's coded in a way that eventually the heads-up display will easily display that. So yeah, that's the turret, right? Tons of damage. It's through your ammunition like crazy. It overheats. It's beautiful. Let's just for an idea, let's just completely get rid of this dude in a few seconds, and you see the power of this thing. Now, of course, we want to look at the upgrades. And again, developer magic, let's go with the first one, which is going to be rapid deploy. That means the deploy is much faster. So, you know, you can pull it out in a pinch. That's pretty much it. Nothing else to show. So, yeah. Now let's look at the second upgrade, which is going to be the fast gunner. What that does is that whenever you have the turret deployed, you no longer have speed issues. You can move at full speed with the gun up or the gun down. No worries. I mean, with the turret up or down. You know what I'm saying. Jesus Christ. Seriously, talking so much about that shield thing just completely destroyed my brain. And of course, the final upgrade, technically speaking, the mastery, is going to be the ultimate cooling. And you know what that does? It makes it so that your gun cannot overheat at all. You can fire it all day long, and this thing just doesn't ever overheat. So there you go. That's it. That's it for the turret. There really isn't anything else that I can say about it, other than, you know what? This is something, and this is just basically me being like, oh my god, I did good. But hey, I'm proud of this. I really spent a lot of time into ripping the sounds from the guns, from Doom Eternal, to find a good spot where there weren't a ton of ambient noises and all of that, and then to make the gun firing loop really good. And let me show you the primary fire, because seriously, I'm really proud about this. You will hear how the loop is perfect. No issues. You can even hear the pitch going up. What can I say? I'm just proud of it, all right? It, like, seriously, it took me a lot of tries to get it right, to get the loop working perfectly right, and there we go. Same thing with the turret. Listen to that pitch go up. So the loop is there. It's, I don't know, what can I say? Look, I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but every once in a while I have found some mods here and there that they do things like this with looping sounds, and the loops are kind of faulty. So I know we all try our best, but I'm really proud of how I eventually managed to get the loop going over here. So yeah, that's pretty much it regarding this gun. I told you that it was gonna be sort of a pain in the ass to explain, particularly the shield. I know it might be a bit weird for people like, hey, but it doesn't really look, and hey, and this and that, but seriously, trust me, this was completely deliberate. I spent a lot of time thinking of, you know, weighing the options, deciding which was gonna be the best way to proceed with this. Let me see if I can get this guy crushed. Come on, come over here. Look. So yeah, I hope you like it. Again, it plays really good. I know I sound like a salesman, right? You'll be like, no, trust me, this is amazing. You will love it. But I do believe that you will enjoy this quite a bit once it's out. Now, just to quickly talk about release date, there's no release date. I don't know, we're working, as you can tell, we're working at a heightened pace to get this out as soon as possible, but this is gonna still take a while. But you can see that progress is being made, and yeah, I promise you, we're working on it. So that's gonna be it for this long ass video. It really lives up to the name of Macro Showcase because it was goddamn long. As usual, I'm gonna plug my secondary YouTube channels, DBT's Vrooms. If you want to check it out, just today there was a release for another Driving Lambo episode where I'm using the Lambo the Aventador Super Veloce. So if you like cars, if you like Lambos, if you like all of that, racing games, go ahead and check it out. Subscribe if you will. So alright, that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you all for all the kind words and your patience on this. I promise I really want to get this out as soon as possible. I'll let you know once we have something more clear. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.